Last week, Saudi Arabian journalist and Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi vanished. And ever since, people have been trying to figure out exactly what happened.
Does that sound familiar?
Tonight I think of my home, the home where I was born.
Are you thinking about the home where you were born? If you're a Nigerian today, anywhere you live across the world, have you been thinking about the home where you were born? Especially if you're 55 years and older, especially, but even younger. Because what we're going through in Nigeria today is probably worse than what we went through under Babangida and Abacha. That's a tall order. And that should be concerning to all Nigerians. As I spent time yesterday thinking about Dele Farotimi's abduction, gang-style abduction, I couldn't help but start to look at the similarities between what happened to the Saudi Arabian journalist Khashoggi, who used to work for either New York Post or New York Times or Washington Post, and how he was layered into the Saudi Arabian embassy in Turkey. And you see the footage as he went into that embassy. That was the last of him that was seen. And I'd like you to take a look at that scene and then take a look at the footage, the CCTV footage of Dele Farotimi leaving his office with these abductors, and they took him away, and nobody knows specifically where he is. Now, also compare that to some of the stories that are told firsthand by Dele Farotimi. Dele Farotimi raises alarm over threats to life, accuses Afe Babalola of using police to witch hunt him. And then compare that to the story with Khashoggi, the journalist from Saudi Arabia. On Wednesday, Turkish security officials concluded that the highest levels of the royal court in Saudi Arabia ordered the assassination of Khashoggi. Khashoggi is the right pronunciation. And officials have said that a 15-person team flew from Saudi Arabia to Istanbul on the day Khashoggi entered the consulate. Some arrived on 2 private planes. Aviation data analyzed by CNN backs up evidence of the planes arriving in Istanbul. We must not all sit back and take these things lightly. It hasn't gotten that far with Dele Farotimi. However, if they get away with this much and there's not enough outrage from the public and all the authorities, what's to say that they are not going to take it that far? Or what's to say that the next person they get, they are not going to take it that far? Igbo say that na arụrụ anagba afọ ọghọrọ omenala. When a bad thing goes on for a year, it becomes tradition. It happened in Saudi Arabia with Khashoggi. The world said nothing about it. Saudi Arabia said nothing about it. Now it's happening in Nigeria. But we must be very cautious because an illegitimate president who is desperately seeking legitimacy can be a very good copycat. If this happened in Saudi Arabia, he knows the Saudi Arabian president wouldn't say anything about it. America just elected Donald Trump. Are you seeing where I'm going with this? So if in America Donald Trump is president and does similar things, where does Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his police and cronies in Nigeria get their conscience from? This authoritarian style is the new way that the world is leaning. You have one in Russia, you have one coming in America, you have one that grabbed it, snatched it, and ran with it in Nigeria, you have one in Saudi Arabia, you have one in... You have them all over the place. This is scary. Dele Farotimi is the flagship. If this happened to Dele Farotimi, who is next? Dele Farotimi is younger than me, probably by up to 8 years or 10 years. So I'll say he's between 57 and 60 years old. I'm 67 years old. Both myself and Dele Farotimi especially, because he's on a higher visibility than I am, much higher. Dele Farotimi at 57 years old has lived long enough that if he's a good man, which he is, and he believes in telling the truth, which he does, Dele Farotimi has lived long enough to say, I'd rather speak the truth and be killed on the truth than sit back and say nothing while the crooks and the bad people get away with murder in our country. It's the same thing I've said to people when they caution me, and I say it respectfully because the people who caution me are people who dearly love me. But more importantly, they are people who I dearly respect, and the world knows that. But when I'm told that, I say that I've lived long enough that if the reason I'm killed is that I'm saying the right thing, so be it. Someday down the line, history would say that Nigerians who fought and taught and risked their lives and paid the ultimate price, that their lives were not in vain. It may be 100 years from now, which means short term, we're going to think we were forgotten. On the surface, I say that Nigeria is now worth dying for, but Nigeria is worth fighting for. It is contradictory, because if you're going to fight the way we're fighting, and if Dele Farotimi will take it even one notch higher, then indirectly we're saying Nigeria is worth dying for. It was a painful night for me last night. I've never met Dele Farotimi, and I may never meet him in my life. But the thought of his arrest was on my mind all night and all day this morning. And it wasn't just that his thought was on my mind. It's also the fact that I'm not hearing enough buzz from the right quarters What's the difference between what just happened to Dele Farotimi and what happened to Nnamdi Kanu? And I bring this up so that Igbos and Yorubas and everybody else in Nigeria can see that we're all intertwined. It's a matter of when it gets to us. If you told me that somebody, the profile of Dele Farotimi could be picked up the way he was in Nigeria, I'll tell you it's not possible. Things like that happened to me, not to Dele. That actually brings me to a thought I want to share. The first one being the fact that at the rate we're going, by the time Bola Ahmed Tinubu is done with Nigeria, Nigeria will be worse than Afghanistan in terms of every aspect, security and all. And this morning on one of the chat groups I belong to, in reference to this Dele Farotimi saga, somebody said this: what I really see here are the dysfunctions and inconsistencies in our country. Please, somebody help me understand how this is different from the abduction and continued imprisonment of Nnamdi Kanu. Another food for thought for Igbos and Yorubas who think we're different, we're separate, they treat us differently. They only treat you differently when you're conniving with them or you stay mum while they commit atrocities. As a Yoruba person, if you open your mouth and tell the truth, you are no different from Nnamdi Kanu. They will treat you exactly the way they are treating Nnamdi Kanu. And the only difference is that Dele Farotimi was not picked up in the Republic of Benin or Ghana or Uganda like Nnamdi Kanu was picked up in Kenya. It's now been more than 48 hours. Who knows what these evil people's plans are? When Bayo Onanuga and your former Speaker of the House, Gbajabiamila, soon after the election, before he became Chief of Staff, while he was segueing between the House and Chief of Staff, at an event they had, he made a statement that they need to clamp down on social media. We brushed it off. Bayo Onanuga has steadily talked about his wish to have social media clamped down on. Your president said he doesn't listen to social media. I even respect Bola Ahmed Tinubu more than Bayo Onanuga and Gbajabiamila and Dele Alake when it comes to social media. Because he said he doesn't listen to it because they're always insulting him, but he didn't say clamp down on it. So even Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a better position on freedom of press than the cronies that he surrounds himself with. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣe everything tó bá possible láti make sure pé wọ́n ṣe Dele Farotimi léṣe. I can't even put sentences together because that's how hurt I am. What I said, guys, is let's do what it takes to make sure they don't hurt Dele Farotimi in the jail where they're locking him up. Ẹ jẹ́ ká má jẹ́ kí wọ́n ṣe Dele Farotimi léṣe nílé ẹ̀wọ̀n tán gbé lọ sí. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Fred Nwanko coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bull Talk on Island TV. Until next time, please don't forget to like, please don't forget to share, please don't forget to subscribe, take time and make your comment. Good night and God bless.
Tonight I think of my home, the home where I was born. I think of my family and the poor farmhouse we had. There in my home, we had no sophistication. We had no timepiece, the cockcrow and the sun, all we had. Rise early at sunup, we'd go to the farms, drive the monkeys away from the maize farms, and the birds away from the rice farms. Come back home at sundown.